Alright, so this is the tricky part. It's risen, looks great. Now we have to knead in the raisins. Raisins are harder to knead in than you might think. So the recipe calls for about a cup of raisins. So if you want to use a little more, a little less, whatever. I like to try and break them up a bit so I don't have huge clumps of raisins. I'm going to start by putting a couple on top. But I'm not sure. I've tried a couple different techniques for kneading in the raisins, and there was one that worked really well, but I haven't made this bread for a while, so I don't actually totally remember which one it was. So hopefully we'll be able to find it out. So I'm just starting with a few on top and kneading. Okay, and this is really sticky, so I might need a little flour too. Yeah, it could do with a little more flour. So sprinkle a little flour down, sprinkle a little flour on top, and also, start pouring out those raisins. It's possible that you're supposed to coat the raisins in flour. That could be a different recipe. I didn't write any of this down. It just sort of, I vaguely remember tossing raisins with flour at some point. Anyway, so basically you just want to knead. And for a while, all the raisins are going to come right back out, and it's going to be really annoying. But there's a magical point at which they actually stay in the dough, and you'll be happy. And you want them to not just stay in the dough, but to be inside the dough. Because if they're on the outside, then they're going to get all dried out. And they're not going to taste very good at all. And that's no good. Alright, so I worked in the flour. It doesn't feel super dry and floury on the outside anymore. And I worked in the raisins. I didn't use quite as many raisins as I sometimes do just because it can be really hard to work those all in. So, not quite a cup of raisins, all neatly covered. And if there's some like right here, you may or may not be able to see this, where they're sort of just barely under the surface, you can sort of pinch the dough and cover them up a little more. So now I'm going to shape this into a log so that it'll fit into this greased loaf pan, and then just kind of flatten it so it actually fits properly. And now I'm going to cover that up and let it rise for 30 minutes. I'm also going to preheat my oven to 425. So I'm not going to show you what happens next because it's really boring. But basically, when this is risen, I will take the plastic cover off, shove it in the oven, and bake it at 425 for half an hour. And then I'll take it out of the oven. I'll kind of try and scrape it out of the loaf pan. If you're not using a loaf pan, if you're just using a sheet pan, that works too. You want to shape it into sort of a ball. But anyway, you'll take it out of the pan or off of the pan, put it on a wire rack to cool, and that's pretty much it. So hopefully this recipe will work out for you.